Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I have a very much interesting video for you guys, and this video is for Linux beginners. Yes, those who want to use the Linux operating system and those are new in the Linux operating system. Suppose you have installed the Linux system but you don't know the technical terms. So you may face some problems with involving the Linux community. Yes, the vast Linux community, but without knowing some specific technical terms, it is difficult to actually involve with them, with the Linux community. So today I have the most useful and widely used terms by the Linux community you should know. So watch this video till last, don't skip any of the part of this video because these are very important terms and we are talking about in detail. So before starting the video, one request for you: if you like this video then hit the like button. Okay, hit the like button please, and of course subscribe my channel and hit the notification bell icon to get notified of my future videos. So without further delay, let's jump into our main topic today. Any software or program can be made using the code, and that is called the source code. The code may be written as some different languages, suppose Python or C++ or Java or whatever. Now if the code is open for all, that means if anyone can see the code and can modify and freely distribute the code, then it is called the open source software. Some open source softwares are especially Linux based software such as GIMP, Krita, OBS Studio and LibreOffice such as. And closed source softwares are suppose Google Chrome and Adobe Photoshop. You cannot actually see that what code made the software. So you don't have the freedom in the closed source softwares. GNU project or GNU project, this is actually an extensive collection of the free softwares, almost 383 packages in January 2022, and those can be used as an operating system or part of the operating system. In today's days, you can see that most of the Linux distribution have the GNU package inbuilt, right? And most of the GNU packages are freely licensed, and the license is GPL, that is GNU own public license. Now GNU project was started by Richard Stallman, a free activist of the Free Software Foundation. So the free software concept was originated from the GNU or GNU. The full form of GNU is not Unix. So this is a unique thing. Kernel is the core component of an operating system. And the Linux kernel is very big, and the Linux kernel is free and open source. You can easily download it. And most of the Linux distribution and the most of the Android distribution, you can say that all the Android distribution uses the Linux kernel. Yes, if you go to the Android website, you will see that it uses the Linux kernel. So Linux kernel is very great kernel, and above this Linux kernel softwares can be installed and you can make a Linux version or Linux distribution. The kernel actually communicate the hardware and the software. That means whatever hardware you have in your PC, so the communication or the detection of that hardware is made by the Linux kernel actually. Distributions of Linux, or you can say some versions of Linux, such as in Windows there are Windows 7, Windows 8. In similar cases, Linux has some distributions, that is different versions of it. Suppose Debian based distribution are actually the most stable one. The Arch based Linux distribution give you the latest softwares, but somewhere unstable. So like this, whatever you need, and for each of your need there is a Linux distribution, different versions of Linux. Nowadays you can say almost 300 or more type of Linux distribution are actively developed in current days. So you have a vast number of choice to choose the Linux distributions. Some of the popular Linux distributions are Debian, Ubuntu, Fedora, Pop OS, Peppermint and a lot others, suppose Zorin OS and lot more. List is very long actually. When a distribution actually released, you will find it in the distrowatch.com website. It is a great website, and always it take you to the up-to-date news of the releasing of the Linux distributions. Repositories, you can say those are the servers or the websites where the packages of a particular Linux distribution reside. That means suppose your Linux distribution uses some packages, a vast number of packages, and those are actually stored in a website, and that is called the repository. Yes, and you can download any software package from the repository using your package manager or software center tool. And different package repositories are used by different type of Linux, such as Ubuntu based or Arch based or Red Hat, or you can say Fedora based distribution have their own type of repositories. Now coming to the desktop environment. Now desktop environment actually it is the bundle of softwares or the collection of softwares, and all those softwares give you the basic interface of the basic actually graphical user interface to of the distribution, whatever distribution you are using. The basic graphical user interface, that is the icons, that is the panel and dock and windows, all things will give you, and that is called the desktop environment. Some popular desktop environments are GNOME, KDE, XFCE, Budgie, Cinnamon, Deepin, Qt and lot more. So you have a variety of choice of the desktop environments, but in case of Mac OS or Windows, you will get only one type of desktop environment. You cannot change it or you can't install it. But in Linux world, you can actually install any desktop environment in any Linux distribution. Now, what are Wayland and X11, or you can say Xorg? These are basically the X servers that give you the graphical user interface. Now, in earlier days, the Linux has only command line. That means whatever you have to do, you have to just type some command, giving some instruction in the command line, and then you will do the task. But in present days, the scenario is totally different. You have very beautiful graphical user interfaces, different desktop environments. So this actually graphical thing is actually served by the X server, and the traditional X server is Xorg. So it is actually very long time it is using. But the modern X server is Wayland, but still it is in beta phase. You can see it is in testing phase. GNOME has adopted very well the Wayland, but KDE is still developing its Wayland variation or Wayland support. So that's the thing, but Wayland is really good in touch gestures in the laptops. Now coming to GTK and Qt. These are basically the toolkits for software developing in the Linux systems. Actually, using these toolkits, you can actually create some graphical softwares for the Linux system. Now, the popular desktop environment GNOME and its related desktop environment, suppose Budgie, those are made of GTK mainly. And the KDE desktop environment and the Qt and the Deepin desktop environment, those are made of Qt toolkit. So these are two different toolkit, but feature rich, really feature rich toolkit, and the vast softwares are made with these two toolkits. So these are very popular. Currently GNOME 42 using the GTK4. So these are the new thing, and the latest version of Qt is Qt6. Now coming to the GRUB, the full form of it is Grand Unified Bootloader. It is a free and open source bootloader that supports a vast majority of the operating system, Windows, Mac OS and tons of Linux distributions. And you can actually see that any operating system is detected by the Grand Unified Bootloader. Now bootloader is that software that loads first when a computer starts, and it gives the control of the system to the Linux kernel, and the rest of the things is done by the Linux kernel. That means all the services it will start when a computer starts. So the GRUB actually is a GNU's project now. So GNU GRUB you can see, and the latest version of GRUB is GRUB 2.06 you can say, and this is maintained very well, the GRUB. And you will see day by day this is more advanced. Some GRUB themes are there. So the bootloader, when you boots up your system, if you have multiple operating system, so you will see a beautiful graphical user interface to choose among those operating systems whichever you want to load. Now the root or root account, it is actually the highest level user of a Linux distribution, such as Windows administrator. That means a root account or a root can do anything in the computer. It can delete any of the system files, it can install the software, it can actually change the configuration files, and it can also change the GRUB configuration. So anything can be made by the root account. And also there is a root directory, and it is denoted by / in the Linux system, the main directory structure of the Linux system, and the beginning is from the root. Root account may be disabled in some distributions, but the root account access you will get by the sudo command. So if you type sudo command, that means you can say you are saying super user do. So basically you are doing some super user thing. So root account also you can say the super user, basically it can do anything in the system, in the computer. So that's all for today's video. If you are enjoying and if your knowledge is enhanced, then of course like my video. It will motivate me to actually make some more videos. And of course subscribe my channel to support me, and hit the notification bell icon to get notified of my future videos. So thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.